Hello, hello, Facebook land and YouTube land. This is Tessa Robinson, and we are here for the PCS Grades weekly live webinar. We have such a fun show for you today. I'm so excited to be here with the amazing, very talented, super hilarious Ashley Gutermuth, stand-up comedian and actress, Air Force spouse, who's going to talk to us about the importance of laughing through military life. Ashley, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. It's wonderful.
So pumped to have you. Folks in Facebook land, you know the drill. If you haven't been with us before, you will be entered to win based on comments. This is, Jenna Weezer says someone else last name. Do you like how I skimmed over her name too? Folks, today we'll be giving away a board game to help you laugh through military life at the Awkward Family Photo Card Game, and a Nalgene reusable water bottle to support Ashley's mission of reuse and recycle. So you'll be entered to win just by your comments. Make sure to engage with our guest. Ask her anything you want to know about stand-up comedy, Air Force spouse life, and just her in general. So we'll go ahead and get started. Ashley, the first one's always a softball question. Tell us about yourself.
Tell you about myself. Well, I'm an 89-year-old mother of 7. Really, I eat a lot of vegetables and I run. What can I just say? I am a stand-up comedian. I'm a military spouse, and I cause a lot of trouble online. That's my main mission.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, you made some national news lately. Tell us about the Tonight Show Seinfeld Challenge.
So that was a fun thing. First of all, I didn't know I was going to be on the television when I was actually on the television. So I submit to things all the time. And this was, I guess, 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago now. I submit to things all the time. And we had just moved. I think we were in our new house for like a couple weeks, and I saw this call out for the Tonight Show and submitted it and just let it go. Figured, I'll never hear anything of that again. And then I got an email that said, "Hey, you probably won't be on. You've been on the next round, but here, sign this release form from the Tonight Show." And I was still like, nothing's ever going to happen. What is this? Okay. And it was supposed to air on Thanksgiving, and I don't have cable, so I was like, am I really going to buy cable for this? Like, am I going to be that ridiculous? Am I that self-centered? And my husband was in bed. It's on at like 11 o'clock at night. I went and woke him up, and I was like, just in case you're interested, you don't have to if you don't want to. I don't think anything's going to come of it. And then Jerry Seinfeld was on, and he talked for a good 10 minutes. So I figured, okay, that's a pretty long segment for any late night TV show. They've probably scrapped the whole thing. And then Jimmy Fallon said, okay, when we get back, we're going to do the Seinfeld challenge. And I thought, okay, all right, we'll see. And the very first one they called up was me, and pronounced my name right and everything. So
and we have a clip of that we're going to show in a minute, but tell us a little bit more about, so how many people entered? Tell us what the premise of the contest was, all those things.
So I have no idea how many people entered. It could have just been me. But I have no idea. I don't know. But I know that people did it from all over the world, because one of the other people on there is Magda, and she is in Romania, I believe. She did her segment where she read some of Jerry Seinfeld's jokes to a cow. And that was great. Lots of people, after that segment aired, they liked the cows more than they liked me. So, I mean, that's fair. I like a good cow. A cow also, interestingly enough, in the Navy is, do you know?
Commanding officer's wife.
Commanding officer's wife. That's real flattering, isn't it? It's nice. Let's call him a cow.
He doesn't want a cow party.
He doesn't want a cow party. So, the whole concept was Jerry Seinfeld had come out with a book called Is This Anything? And that's kind of something that comedians say to one another to see if there's anything good in a premise. So you'll kind of go, do you think is there anything in this? And I did a joke about late night hosts, because I thought I always try to look at things from a business perspective. give them something to talk about, right? You pick late night hosts, then probably Jimmy Fallon, the late night host, will have something to say about that, and so will Jerry Seinfeld. That's what I chose my joke about, and it just I didn't even know it was I didn't know I was going to be on TV, and then I didn't know it was a contest. So I did my piece. It went over well. They laughed, and then I thought it was all over. But then they pulled my face up at the very end, and they said, "I pick Ashley to be the winner." And they sent me nice a shirt, and Jerry Seinfeld signed his book to me, and said I was so funny in it, and put a tweet out. It was just lovely, and it was Jerry Seinfeld doesn't really tweet that often, so it's you can like scroll back and see where he put my name in the Twitter message. But now robots have come in and they've started to like hit on all of us. It's like Jimmy Fallon, Ashley Good. So because we were all attached to that message, it's like, hey, do you want to go for a drink sometime? You're like, I don't know if this is how they find friends.
If
But
Jimmy's in, I'm in. I'll go.
I'm in. I'll go.
All right. Well, we're going to try, if the technology gods will shine upon us, we're going to try and show that clip here because it is absolutely hilarious. All right. Here we go.
Watch some of these submissions and see how they did. First up, we have Ashley Gutermuth from Wrightstown, New Jersey. She's doing your bit about talk show hosts. Let's take a look at this.
How come talk show hosts never have any idea how much time they have? They're always looking off camera. Do we have time for this? How are we doing on time? Are we out of time? We're out of time. It's your own show. Why do you know nothing about how it works? You never see Magnum PI going, are we gonna strangle this guy? Or are we gonna take a break? I tell you what, I'll bonk him on the head. We'll take a quick break, come back. I'll drive in the car real fast. Okay? Stay with us.
That was great.
That was great, right?
That was really good.
That's funny. Everyone does say, "Are we
had
running?"
it memorized too. She got every word right.
And crushed it. Yeah.
Do you know that bit?
Did the bit? Yes, I love that bit. Was that? Did you do
How
that?
about that? I love it. You crushed it. You crushed it. Jimmy Fallon said you crushed it.
Crushed it. It was fun. And at the time I was just like, what is happening? Because I didn't think anything would come of it. But I did memorize it. It took a few goes, but we got there in the end.
So real question, did you end up buying cable to see it? Was the cable worth it?
I did. I paid $50 for Hulu Live that night. So I did watch it as it was happening. So it was worth it.
That reimbursement to Jimmy.
Yeah. I should said that and write that on my taxes or something. Business expense.
That's awesome. All right. So let's talk a little bit about another performance you recently had, the Military Spouse JD Network Foundation at the annual reception. Why was this work so meaningful to you?
Oh, I love that group. First of all, for those of you that don't know or might not have any military affiliation, military spouses are horrifically underemployed. A lot of them have advanced degrees or technical skills, and they can't get jobs because we move so much. And, you get left, employers have these prejudices against hiring military spouses. Anyway, what I love about the MSJDN is they all banded together, all these military spouse attorneys and judges and people in those fields, and they banded together and they were like, we're not putting up with this. And they changed laws so that they had to take the bar every time they moved to a new state. Now, I don't know. I think the bar might be hard. I think that it might be it's a difficult thing to pass. I haven't, maybe it's only 3 questions and super cheap, but imagine having to take something like the bar exam, which people take once in their life or, try to pass once in their life. They probably take it multiple times, but then have to take it every time you move is ridiculous. So they banded together to get laws changed. And now there's something like over 42, maybe 43 states that they have that reciprocity in. And I think that all the organizations need the nurses. Think about the nurses and the doctors that are military spouses, that they need licenses to move to each state. And, they should be able to transfer that over. It all comes down to money, right? Those states want that money to where people have to fill out the forms and take the tests, right? It's all like revenue. It's not, we need to make sure that a human body is different in, New Mexico as opposed to Pennsylvania. It's not, it's about the revenue generated. So military spouse nurses and teachers and anybody in health fields that have to get licenses, I would love it if they could all have reciprocity in all of those states. And in fact, Massachusetts recently just passed a law for that. They have allowed, they're calling it, I can't remember at the moment. I'd have to look it up, but it just passed at the beginning of the month, where if you're a military family and you move to Massachusetts, you can put your kid in any school, which is great. You don't have to worry about the school districts, and you can, they have that reciprocity for military spouses, so you can get jobs, which is great.
So awesome. So you've moved several times, Air Force spouse. How has your unique career path transported you across state lines?
Yes, I have moved several times. Let's see, we've been to Pittsburgh, to Georgia, to DC, Delaware, Washington, all over. Here's some things I've learned. When you move across the country, don't try to use that as a chance to go on a diet. We had to drive. I drove a truck. We have a F-250. My husband at the time, past PCS, we're divorced. No, my husband was driving our RV that we had at the time, and he was pulling something as well. And I just decided to only eat seeds as we drove from the East Coast to the West Coast. Just I like to spice things up, see what'll happen. And turns out it's bad. It's just real bad.
You should almost do some sort of like caloric reimbursement like they do with gas mileage.
Right.
Like, every mile you travel, you get an extra 200 calories. Like, definitely the move 15 or move 20, move 30, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what advice do you have for other military spouses who might feel hesitant to pursue a creative career?
Oh, well, so creative careers are difficult because you don't make much money. Without my husband, I'm basically can't afford food. I need him, definitely need him. Can't afford those seeds without his money. So one thing is to start off with the things that you really love to do. I've always really loved comedy and voiceover acting and different types of acting. So it's kind of leans me into, I really love it. So it makes it easier for me. Don't expect to make money right away, but go in as hard as you can. Look at how many cool things military spouses do. Look, a military spouse made this that you sent me. Look at that. It says it's 1700 somewhere. Isn't that cool? Like, that's creative. That to me is working in a creative field. So anything that you like, get out and do it. My thing with being in creative fields is, at least for me, is I love to make jokes and I love to do all my videos and things like that and to do stand-up, but I love to use that to propel me to help other people. So if you can find a way to leverage what you're doing into that, I think it's much more fulfilling. So while you might not make as much money, especially you start out as a comedian, you're paying to go to things. You're paying to go to open mics, or you're paying $5 a go for stage time. You're in the hole for years. So you really want to make sure that you have a financially stable in other ways, but find ways that you can help other people through what you like, and that makes that side of it a lot more fun.
How did you get into comedy?
Grew up around comedy, loved it. I used to go to work with my parents and we would listen to comedy on the way to work with them every day. And I love British comedy. I don't actually know a whole ton about American comedy. I know a lot more about British comedy. And so love that. And then just always wanted to do it. I was in plays. I would do little like bits of stand up all through school, not like for real, but just troublemaking. Like I would stand on my desk and say things, anything to be funny. So, I just kept going until I could start to get into those open mics and things, which are now actually, um, if you want to get into comedy now, there you can do Zoom mics. You can be, in the middle of nowhere on a base and still do comedy just through online mics and online. I do shows for companies that are completely virtual.
How is
So,
that?
Sometimes great, sometimes not.
If they're all muted and you can't hear if they're laughing.
It's like I if they stay muted, I yell at them, and I'm like, guys, is this what you do? Is this what you do when you have meetings? Is that you just ignore whoever's on the screen? You don't type anything. Sometimes people are camera shy, or they're worried their baby's going to cry or the dog's going to bark. But I have some jokes that gets them to unmute, or I'll tell them to type in the chat, or because there's got to be some interaction. There's some companies that will hire me to just record myself doing my set, and then they will distribute that to their employees. Now, I don't know if those companies have heard of Netflix, which would be a much better produced. Those people, they could pay for a year's subscription to Netflix for their employees, and they can pick what they want to watch. It might not be me because I'm not on there. And I'm fine with it. I think they would enjoy that experience a lot better.
Are you traveling quite a bit with comedy?
I do. Yeah. I travel a lot. I go all over. This year I was in Los Angeles and Oklahoma, and I go to New York City all the time because I'm close to there. But yeah, DC a lot. I just anywhere and everywhere. I'm going to Vegas and Colorado, heading out there. So,
do you have a favorite place that you've performed?
Well, I really like New York City's great because you can run from one thing to another. You can hit so many different spots in a night. So that's super neat. I love performing for any type of military audience because it requires such less of a setup to a joke. They don't have to explain to them how like military stuff works. You can just get right into it. So that's always my favorite.
You don't have to tell them what PCS stands for and all that.
Right. Yeah.
I love it. All right, so we're going to dive into some scenarios where we give you the military life situation and you give us your best comeback. Little witty interaction here. All right. Our CEO, good old Todd Ernst, is an Air Force guy. Give us your best Air Force joke or impression.
Oh, good. Okay, so Todd's a pilot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's an impression of an Air Force pilot at an Army chow hall. Is this even food? I don't. Oh my God. Where's the organic section? That's what I swear. I'm on a joint base. It's a joint Army, Navy, even though it says Navy, but they're so far away. And Air Force, and the Air Force DFAC dining facility, as opposed to the Army chow hall, right? Is we have steamed fish. We have artisanal pizzas that they like make by hand. I mean, these. You can't, I think if you're recruiting someone, you don't take them, you want to recruit someone from the Army, you don't take them to the Air Force side at all. You don't do it.
Welcome to our gym. Here's a hot towel.
Here's a hot towel. The masseuse will be in.
It is. Lots of golf on the Air Force bases. Mm-hmm. We love you, Todd. You're the best.
We love you, Todd.
You're new to military life and deciding to live on or off base. How do you decide?
I always choose to live on base when I can. I love living on base. First of all, I make fun of it, but that's okay. You can make fun of things that you like. I choose to do the things that I won't always get to do. So when my husband retires, even though there's in some cases you can be retired and still live on military bases, but for the most part, we'll probably move to a different house and do the things that you can do now that you won't be able to do later. Get those different experiences. And being a military family is already an experience that hardly anybody gets, right? Less than 1% of all the people in the United States will join the military. So being able to be a part of that and try to do good, do something to help others within that. I just love living on base. I love buying expired cream cheese from the commissary. It's just one of my things. What do you want me to do? I love swapping the signs. for where the generals park and making them super far away. That's one of my favorites. I I would live on base. First of all, make sure spouse have such a short commute. I swear I could throw a rock and hit my husband's office, which is also like there's so much to that is ridiculous, right? We build these villages where you work and live in the same place, and also your neighbor is probably your boss. Like there's so many issues that can crop up from that, but
I loved your Instagram post. I was trying to find it here to show on the screen, but I'll just encourage everyone to follow you on Instagram. They can see it themselves. But I loved your Instagram post of you standing with your arms open in front of all the paint samples at Home Depot. These are all the colors my walls could be, and yet I won't change.
Will never ever be. They will always be a scuffed up matte white that I will hastily paint over when I move out to make sure.
Are you in base housing now? Is that the beautiful color?
Oh yeah, you can see this is all it. The ceiling is the same color as the baseboards.
So magical. Love base housing, the best. All right, your civilian neighbor just told you that she knows what you go through because her spouse travels for work. How do you respond?
Oh, do you know where your husband is, Susan? Where is your husband? Is your husband trying to do IT in a war zone? Is that what he's doing? I didn't know that's what it was like over at Dell. But okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Although, to be fair, I did see one of your posts, one of your videos where you called, I think it was the executive lounge to see, because was he TDY to Tampa or something?
Yeah. Well, yeah, the Air Force likes to get deployed, and whenever I post about this, I'll usually get people that are like, my husband deployed lots of times and he did not go to Tampa. And I'm like, oh, really? You think I don't know that there's different jobs that deploy? I also know that my husband has had deployment orders to Tampa. So then you'll get people that chime in that are like, those aren't deployment orders, those are TDY orders. No, for some reason they're not. They're stateside orders, and they get to stay at the Tampa Marriott. Because that seems to be where. Well, why is it? There's a lot of Marriotts, but also they rack up points, and there's so many military people that have like Marriott ambassador status, as a result.
I'm first class and Marriott. Oh, business? No, military.
Yeah, military. Yeah, thank you.
All right, next one. Someone just thanked you for your service as a spouse. How do you respond?
I immediately take off my shirt. That's what you have to do. I take off my shirt and then I salute them slowly and I thank them for their service and I walk away. That's what you have to do.
Drop the mic. I can't believe we can't just end the whole thing on that. We somewhere that really should just call it. All right, your HHG just arrived and most of it's broken. What do you write in the claim?
What I write with, my pen's broken. But HHG for everyone, household goods, which means all of your stuff. Household goods, household not so goods when it's broken. So if everything's broken, that is a standard move. So you should be thankful. I guess I would say thank you for so carefully packing my garbage. That's nice that's wrapped in bubble wrap, but could I please have my family photos? I love what you've done. I love what you've done with my couches. I didn't need cushions. So yeah, thank you very much. We have had lots of things break and we don't make claims. We just set it all on fire and move on. I can't handle the paperwork. I can't deal with it. I'm just like, it's a loss. And my husband has a motorcycle that is a very sentimental albatross. I'll say it. It is to me. It is an albatross to me, but it is huge. And when they move it, I have a panic attack because I know it was his dad's. And if something were to happen to it, he would feel terrible. I would feel terrible. But I watch these movers wheel this thing off the truck. And every time I'm like, oh my God, what is going to happen? So there's a few things where I'm like, ugh. And that actually, they broke part of the motorcycle the last time. So that was not pleasant, but still didn't claim it. What are we going to claim? They could probably pack me, break my legs.
I make my husband deal with the claims paperwork. Ashley, how would your husband do the claims paperwork?
He He would. He was very upset about it. Good on you, Melissa. You need to teach me how to train my husband. But we both were just like, oh, we can't. And I am. So I grew up around people that hoarded a lot of stuff. What you're seeing in this room is me trying to be a person. You can see Bruce back there on the chair. Hi, Brucey. He won't look. He hates podcasts. This is me trying to be a person. I've taken basically all the furniture in my house and I've brought it in here so I don't look like a lunatic. But I basically don't have furniture. I grew up with people that had too much, and now I prefer empty rooms. My dream is just concrete walls, empty room, maybe a light and a window. So I guess
asylum of sorts is what
yeah, little bit. That's what I'm looking for, and I'll find it someday. They'll put me in one.
Oh, it's fun. You'd have a good time there, I'm
Yeah.
sure. All right, give us your best BAH joke.
Oh, my best BAH joke. Well, it's funny because my husband is a full-time Air Force reservist. So he wears the uniform every day, goes in every day. But we don't get BAH. So we even like living on base, we send like a check or use a card to call them in. So that's always fun. It's interesting when people are like, well, the government pays, I pay for you to live with my taxes. I paid for your GI Bill with my taxes. I paid for, and you're like, well, I would appreciate if you would invest your money a bit better because my house is kind of moldy.
Womp, womp,
Get
womp.
it together, right?
This seems like a recurring theme for you of like paying to live on base, paying to be in these shows. I like that you actually went in debt to be on Jimmy Fallon's. So you could
I did. The life of a creative comedian. What can you do? Military spouses. We're underemployed. It should have been on Netflix. I'm here to say
92% underemployed. So we'll switch gears a little bit, and then we're going to go back to our rapid fire, which always sounds daunting, and personally, I love it. We couldn't help but notice your amazing mission to run and pick up trash along the way. Tell us a little bit about how that got started.
Okay, so if you can't tell, well, first of all, I was talking about not having a lot of stuff. I have OCD, OCD-esque. I definitely like to do things over and over again. So I have ran at least a mile a day for almost 8 years. I've never missed a day, even during PCSs. I'll run in gas station parking lots, even during long drives, all that stuff. I will make sure I run at least a mile a day. And as the years went on, I started to run more. Now I do about 3 to 4 miles every day. And I did that to beat running. And I wanted to be able to run with my husband, who is tall and skinny and needs no help with a fitness test. But I got to the point where I was like 16, 17-minute miles wheezing to after 100 days straight. I was running 8-minute miles, and I was able to start pacing him for his fitness test. And since then, I've paced other people. And I'll tell you what, if you want to feel good, start running for like 6 months. Okay. And then go run on the day when the really young, new people, like 18-year-old guys who vape for some reason. They all smell like strawberry vape. When they're running on their track and they just are putting no effort in, and you can lap them. Oh my God, feels good. Go do it. It's worth the running just for that. So I started running, and then about 2 years ago, I was coming back from a stand-up show in Seattle on I-5, which is a major highway out on the West Coast. And somebody was speeding and came up from behind and hit me destroyed my baby Prius. That was the only way I was legitimized to live in the Pacific Northwest was to own a Prius. And hit me from behind, spun me into another car, spun me into a berm barrier type thing. And so I went to the hospital on base, and they were like, you need to keep moving. Your body's going to seize up. And it was so funny because I have been in this like bad accident. My brain was all pudding. And what did they prescribe me? Motrin.
Right.
Motrin. A lot of Motrin. And they were like, you need us to give it to you? And I was like, no. I feel like we probably got a lot at home. So when that happened, They told me to keep moving, and I couldn't run as fast because they were worried about me having brain fluid leaking and all this other gross stuff. And so I started picking up trash as I went along. I would run the first mile without stopping, and then the subsequent miles I'll take it slow. And at first I started running. I lived on McCord Air Force Base out in Washington State. I would run with a stick with a nail in it, which is great on a military base to run around looking like you're nuts stabbing the ground. I had to stop that. Cops came too many times. So I started picking up trash. And since then, I've picked up over 1,000 pounds of trash. I recycled a lot of things, found a lot of weird stuff, found some pretty disgusting things. If any of you have ever watched my videos, you may know about the egg. And I'm so sorry that happened. I'm sorry that I had to tell you about it.
Tell us if we haven't seen it.
Oh my God. I'm going to do my best to censor it as much as possible. I was running. It was Easter time. And I was running on base. And I saw a plastic Easter egg. And it looks just like the kind that would have candy in it. I was like, oh, okay, maybe people are hiding this. And inside was all spongy. And it looked like the things that you would clean your keyboards out, like to clean crumbs out. It was squishy, spongy. And I went home. I went on my Instagram and I held it real close to my face. And I was like, guys, what is this? It's got serial numbers on the bottom. Is this the thing you clean your keyboards with? It's kind of gross. And it's got like stuff coming out of it. What is it? Held it real close to my face. And somebody Googled the serial numbers and they sent me a message and they said, Ashley, burn your hands. Because unfortunately it's called a Tenga egg, which is a male single-use sex egg. And
oh no.
Yeah. So held that too close to my face. So when I found out what it was, I threw it in my front yard and buried it under some mulch because I didn't want to throw it away. I was like, what if someone goes through my trash? What is it? What's happening?
I don't even understand, and I don't want to.
I don't want to. Yeah. So many people had to Google it. So, but that's not even the only. So I found also keys to the cop cars on base. They have little folders in the security forces cars that's have extra keys, and they have all the kind of things that they need to do. Found it in the middle of the road. Called security forces, and they were like skeptical. They were like, wait, what do you have? Do you have keys to the car? This is what he said. He said, did you find it in your house? I was like, what do you think I'm doing?
Yes. Right after I stole it, I hid it and found it in my house. Instead of throwing it away, I called you.
Exactly.
I love it. All right. Are you ready for the rapid fire?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I already know the answer to this first one, but we'll do it anyway. It's on the script. Do you like the British or American version of The Office better?
Well, to throw a wrench into the works, I prefer the American one.
I didn't know the answer.
Better.
Oh, that's so exciting. Oh, wow.
I haven't watched too much of the British Office. I watch a lot of other British TV shows, but I did like the American Office, and I've done shows up in Scranton. So,
very nice. Do you have a favorite character on The Office?
Oh, well, I guess I like all of them. I did a show recently at a place where Creed had done a show a couple days earlier. He's going around and doing comedy and music and stuff. So I thought that was super cool. He's so funny.
He's hilarious. Well, I think Kevin's really underrated.
Oh, Kevin's got a huge following online. And he just wrote a book about chili, how to make different types of chili.
How about that? We have conflicting views in the comments. We have a Team Dwight and we have a Michael Scott.
Yeah.
Kevin has a chili cookbook coming out.
There it is.
Oh, confirmed. Now we have multiple people talking about it. All right, next one. Do your personas have names or do you just freestyle?
They don't have names, but definitely when I put my sweatshirts on that are like, I've got a bunch of 90s Desert Storm sweatshirts that really crack me up. Or I have one that says, I'm a proud Navy wife. And it has like a picture of a Navy hat on it and, or cover, sorry, Navy. And whenever I wear my Navy wife one, I get messages that are like, I thought your husband was in the Air Force. It's like, oh, guess what? I can wear other shirts. It's okay.
It's comedy.
It's fine.
Give us your favorite military spouse joke of all time.
Oh, of all time. I'm very difficult with favorites. How about what did the military spouse say when her husband came home on time? Oh my God, what's wrong? What?
Sounds about right.
Another good joke is probably one my husband tells to me whenever he says, "No, I don't need you to remind me to bring my hat," which is basically every day. Yeah, you do. Do you have your hat? 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 It's my life.
Where my belt is. Where's my belt? This is my belt.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
All right. We did a PCS story contest where we gave away 2 Diddy moves and we got some funny stories out of it. Tell us your craziest PCS story.
Craziest PCS story. Well, I guess it's crazy, but it's still a little standard. We were supposed to move from Georgia to Washington, D.C., talk to the movers at 5 p.m. And they were like, "Yep, we'll see you in the morning." And then got a call at 5:03 from TMO saying they're not coming. And and we were like, "What do you mean?" And so we had to do a sudden Diddy move to get everything ready to go. And we were already doing a partial Diddy, which means we were already pushed to the max with how much stuff we could take already. Because we had a trailer, like a 7-foot or 40-foot or something like that trailer, car hauler trailer that was filled with our stuff. And I am not the person that does the Tetrising. You know, if you don't want me to do that. I can show up, I can destroy things really well. I can make a box heavier than it should be. I can over tape a box. I can shove as much stuff in there as possible. I'd be a terrible mover. Don't hire me.
PCS Olympic Games.
PCS Olympics. We should do that. Oh my God.
We should do that.
That's so fun.
Fun.
So I remember we just ditched stuff. We ditched things that were like good stuff. We had a huge ladder that we left on Warner Robins Air Force Base that we just abandoned. We're like, somebody's going to want this, but we can't take it and we got to go. And he had to be somewhere. Then on the way from Georgia to DC, I was driving a different car. My husband was pulling the trailer. I hate pulling trailers. I hate trailers. I hate pulling trailers. I want nothing to do with it. I want it to be an easy drive. I don't want to have to worry about how much turning radius I need to have or something going wrong. He loves it, loves a trailer. So he's driving along and blows a tire because we have pretty consistent overloaded this trailer because it now has a reasonable amount of stuff in it, has gone to all of our stuff, isn't it? So blew out the thing, and then he had to pull into a truck stop, and he was all excited because he got to like hang out with the people changing things, and they got to change out the tires and all that stuff. I was just like, oh,
did you run a lap in that truck stop?
Yeah, had to do a couple laps, going for a lap.
How did Bruce do on the move?
Bruce, let's see. Bruce was not with us for that move, but he was with us from DC to Dover and then Dover to Washington State. And Brucey, he's still traumatized. He was with me and he's got a little like carrier that he sits in, and I would let him after like an hour, he chills out. Before that, he's real chatty. He's just like, hey, meow, meow, meow. Like, it's all right, buddy. But if you let him out, all he wants to do is climb on top of the dashboard and make you crash and die. So we can't, he's just like, I've had it with this. You see a little cat just with his paws up on front on the, like a dog sticking his head out the window. It's so cute. So he's all right and then we sneak him in hotels, right? Why do hotels they'll allow dogs. And at the time we had a giant dog. We had a dog that was like 150 pounds. He was a bear and they were fine with him, but they didn't want cats. And I was like, the cat is going to do nothing. Right. So, if I'm paying for the dog fee, I'm sneaking the cat.
Well, and really you feel like if you're going to allow kids in a hotel, you should allow a cat because my children, and they're very sweet kids. I like them immensely, but I feel like there's no cats jumping from bed to bed trying to do a backflip.
Right. Yeah.
Like there should be a kid fee, honestly. Please don't do that, folks. We can't move anyway. You don't have no, for sure. All right. Next question. You have such a great social media presence. Who do you follow on social media for a good laugh?
So a lot of my friends are comedians, so I follow them and they're all great. My pal Helen Wilde, she's at How the Helen. She's super funny. There's a comedian in New York City who is so funny, and her name's Zarna Garg, Zarnagarg. She's so funny, cracks me up all the time. So those are people that you may not have heard of, but are so just hilarious, But yeah, a lot of British comedians, a lot of I'm always watching British TV, and so they crack me up. So I follow a lot of them online. But
that's awesome. Is there anybody that you've met? I mean, obviously, I would assume that having Jerry and Jimmy show your clip on national television had to be this kind of aha moment of like, oh my God, I'm really doing it. I'm actually.
Yeah.
Have you met anybody else, or have you had any of those other kind of aha moments? Like, I'm a real comedian.
So I do things and then move on. Just keep my head down. I don't enjoy things really, just generally. Keep going. All right, what's the next thing? Let's move on to the next thing.
She doesn't like furniture or things.
Don't like furniture, don't like enjoying things, don't like a good time. Don't
basically hate fun.
Hate fun. I like when other people are having fun, but I never feel like I can do it. Like I always feel like there's something I need to be accomplishing. Can't let down. I need a Xanax, probably. So I guess I just always, because I always have my head down, I don't have a whole lot of that a lot, but I like what I do, and I definitely like all the military spouse stuff that I get to put out there. It's funny. I got a comment this morning from somebody that, of course, doesn't follow me, but they just left a comment that was like, hey, bro. And I'm like, I'm not your bro, but okay. Why is all your stuff military related? You need to get a personality or something like that. And you're just like, well, what? Like, I'll get that stuff all the time. Why do you do stuff that's all military related? I'm like, first of all, I don't. There's stuff in there about how I have too many Roombas and how my husband is old. So just mix that up and you'll get the Ashley soup. But it's funny how people try to like steer you off. They see something that other people like and they're like, oh, I want to kill that.
Yep.
I want to kill that real fast.
That's a good time. No. I do have an audience question here for you, which, Sam, this is absolutely hilarious. I love it. Sorry, will you take Motrin as a backup from Sam?
Sam, how did you know that Motrin is the generic form of Xanax?
Take 2 of these, you'll be fine.
800 milligrams, which is, say that to anybody on the outside world. You're like, go take 800 milligrams of Motrin. And they're like, you mean a day's? That's like 2 days worth. Yeah, you got to take that 4 times. And you're like,
I broke my ankle. True story. Broke my ankle and was in an immense amount of pain. And I was given Motrin. I was like, my bone is snapped.
My bone. Yep. Suck it up, Buttercup.
Motrin. All right. Next question. So at PCS Grades, one of the things that we do is we review bases. We give them everything from, A, B, C, D, F. So give us, for a base that you've been on, what would you grade an A and what would get a D for you?
A D. So we're not even going for F.
I feel like there's got to be some room for improvement.
I try to always do the best, make the most of wherever I am. What was hard for me? First of all, I'm in New Jersey now. Love New Jersey. I'm able to get into the city. Here's a con. I'll give you the con about New Jersey is the regular neighborhood. So my neighborhood backs up to just the regular city. And the people behind me have 4 roosters. Now, do you know how many is too many roosters? 1. That's 1 is too many roosters. 4 is a glutton of roosters. And I had to buy sound dampening curtains, which do seem to work rather well because I was woken up by the roosters every day. And I tell you what, roosters, it's not like they go, oh, the sun's up, I'm just going to roost a little bit. I'm going to cuck a doodle doo right now. No, 3 a.m. It's dark out, rooster. What are you doing? This is go all day. One of the neighbor's dogs grabbed one of the roosters. Okay. Lab trained dog, trained like bird dog, went and grabbed one of the roosters. And I saw it running with the bird in its mouth. And first of all, the people who own that dog should write me a nice thank you letter for not having rooster in their house when they came home that day. because I chased that rooster in the backyard, probably half naked, because it was in the morning. Chased the dog, and I said, "Nobody likes the rooster, but you can't eat the rooster," and it dropped it.
I
So
think you're a better human than I am. I think I would have just blared "Circle of Life" from The Lion King. just let it happen.
Let it happen. Let it roll.
I always
So
admired a rooster's ability to wake up screaming, though. It's just so normalized.
well, the thing is, the chicken noises are cute. It just sounds like they're laughing. There's a and you're like, the rooster, you need to get it together. I am not dealing with it. So I bought the sound dampening curtains, and they do seem to work pretty well.
That's a good life hack. I like that. It's a good
Yeah.
one. What is the craziest assumption that has been made about you as a military spouse? Brah. Why?
The craziest, the typical. Sometimes you get it from other military spouses, but sometimes you'll get it from like relatives that don't really understand what they're saying, and they're like, I could never be you. I could never do nothing all day. And you're like, wow, all right. Is that what we're doing here? Okay. I didn't know that that's what I did all day, but thanks. So yeah, that assumption that military spouses don't do anything. Sometimes even when they work, they'll, full-time jobs, and they're gone all the time, you'll still get you're you'll get like the other end of the spectrum, which is more horrible. And I get these comments too. They're like, how could you marry somebody that kills people or goes overseas and does things? And I'm just like, holy heck. You're like, there's different levels here and you've gone right for the top. They're like,
people are so impressive. They really are.
Yeah. Oh my God. Don't get it.
When you PCS, how do you get plugged in at your new duty station?
Well, one of the first things I do is I go on the MWR page, or the Force Support Squadron page. You check out that there used to be magazines. Some bases still do have magazines. Like Warner Robins in Georgia, they would have one that would come out like every week, and it would have all the cool stuff that was happening. And I would just start showing up to things. They would have like a ice cream sundae bar, or karaoke night or whatever. I used to love playing. And I haven't seen this at any other base, but they would have bingo. That, first of all, Warner Robins has an actual bingo hall, which is amazing.
Amazing.
A full-on, used still to this day bingo hall. And I would play. They had these bingo cards that they would give you like things to pull off to see what the numbers were, and then you'd have to match that. So it was like bingo on your own. So I used to love doing that. But you go, you go out, you drive around the base, you see what's going on, you get plugged into the good spouses groups, the ones that aren't just being mean to one another, or posting pictures of other people's they don't like something that somebody has done, so they post a picture of them on the website. Stay away from those. You join them, watch them, laugh, but don't post. Don't post.
A lot of popcorn for the comment friends.
Yeah, right.
And let's see, one more for you. Where can we laugh along with you on social media?
I am everywhere on all social media as @Ash Gutermuth. I also have a website, ashleygutermuth.com. You can join my newsletter, and I update as I come, as shows that aren't sold out or aren't private, then I put them on there. And so travel all around. And I also want to come to your base. Here's what I think we need. I've been working with different groups around the base and spouses groups to try to get me to come to their places. I want to come. I think that one of the things that needs to be done is, or at least would be helpful, is Armed Forces Entertainment, who I'm trying to work with. They could bring me out, or your morale and welfare people could bring me out. I would love to come to whatever base you're on. So if you'll have me, I will come.
I like it. Where can we see you? Do you have any upcoming military shows?
I have a cool show tomorrow that is, it's not necessarily a military show, but the other people on it are military. It's in Pittman, New Jersey. So I've been advertising that on my Instagram page, but one of the other people on there is a Air Force pilot. And so we'll get to make fun of him a little bit.
There was a comment earlier. I'm trying to find it. It was so great about what you were talking about at the dining hall. And she said, it reminds me of when they're, I think it's when they go, there we go. Makes me think of all the TikToks going around right now with giving out lobster and everyone saying war is coming because they're serving the good stuff. So great. Any other conferences or anything where we can find you?
Yeah, and I'm coming out to the Military Influencers Conference. That's in Vegas in
Very
October.
nice. October
I'm
26th through the 29th, put on by good old Military Influencer. That's an awesome one.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun. And from there, I'm hopping to the next day to the Airlift Tanker Association, which is out in Colorado. So I'll be in Denver for that conference. So that should be super fun. And we've got some stuff brewing for the next year. And so that's great.
That's awesome. Well,
we are working on, the Army is considering sending me to boot camp. And filming it so that to try to get more people recruited. And I said that I'm willing. It's 10 weeks. So that is impacting my ability to book new places. Cause I'm like, when are they going to send me?
Are you going to do it? You think you'll do it?
If they'll let me, I'm up for it. Let's do it. I'm ready to roll. People can watch. I want Public Affairs to film me, release it as like a weekly YouTube series, and watch me slowly just dissolve.
And all of a sudden, recruitment numbers are down.
They're down. Ashley ruined it. Why did we think this was a good idea?
No, we love crying on national television. It's our favorite. Well, you have been just an absolute joy. We're going to go ahead and do our Wheel of Names now. If once again, this technology Christmas miracle works, which it's always exciting when it does. We are again giving away a card game to help you laugh through military life and a Nalgene bottle to support Ashley's mission of reusing and recycling, which is amazing. And here we go. Click to spin.
Oh, this.
It's so dramatic.
Look at that.
Love it. And our winner is
okay.
Amazing. Lobster comment entitled you to a free board and a Nalgene bottle. Kitty, if you would go ahead and please send a message to the PCS Grades Facebook page, we can coordinate sending that to you, which will be awesome. Ashley, you're absolutely hilarious. We have just beyond loved having you on the show. So glad to have you on here. Folks, for those of you tuning in, next week we will not have a webinar because of Labor Day weekend, but join us live on September 13th as we chat with the National Military Families Association about the Secure Families Initiative and how this impacts you as a military family. Ashley, before we wrap up, anything you want to say to this unbelievable audience?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and I hope I get to see you in person soon.
Amazing. Until next time, my friends, this too shall PCS. Have a great week.